Okay, I'm a fan of cancel culture just as much as the next guy. Not for probably the same reasons as you guys. I just like watching those like 10-hour hit pieces on YouTube from like Cruel Happy Mind or something. Whatever that YouTube, Cruel World Happy Mind. Go check that out if you haven't seen that already. But to get to the conversation, cancel culture is not going to help us in the future that we're walking into. The people that we've been trying to cancel as a means of shaming them into correction, yeah, they have control over the federal government that is supposed to support us all, and they are very angry. So, as a means of helping us through this trying time, and also realizing that artificial intelligence and crypto are not only being used to replace human beings, but to really train themselves off of humans while walking us into a second phase of digital psychosis that we might not ever escape from. It's not going to be about who is right and who is wrong. We are going to tear each other, especially as poor people. And when I say poor, I mean we don't have enough money to like take responsibility for our problems, so we project them onto other people. We don't have time or energy to do any of that. We will end up canceling every single person until there is nobody who is worthy of holding any authority, and then all of us are waiting for Jesus to come save us because none of us are worthy of helping each other save each other from ourselves. That's just what happens to be. Every single cult runs like this. It's a bunch of people who sacrifice their individual needs for the sake of the goal of the community, and then somebody comes in and says, hey, you know what? One of you guys could rule the whole thing. That person ends up saying, okay, well, let me make sure that there's a bunch of divisions and a bunch of internal hatred and resentment and mischief that's going on. So they're all distracted while I'm really owning everything. And on top of that, they're all competing against each other for the validation of one person in this group, rather than recognizing everybody's responsibility to participate in making this community what it is. But I'm getting a little far from the point. Back to it. Recognize that it's not about canceling and who can be the most perfect representative of what we're trying to do. It's about who can create the ecosystems, the communities, the cultural spaces for us to engage in, as many of us, or as many that need to actually care about this, to make change happen. And if not change, just meet goals. Even if those goals are just, hey, everybody in this community can pay their rent for a year. Not that it's just like some lottery shit, but hey, we have an initiative that creates opportunities, provides resources, and allows support for everybody in this community to have housing. And then we have another community that says everybody gets one healthcare check a year or 2 healthcare checks a year. And then we have another community of a bunch of financial advisors that says, hey, everybody gets free guides and access to like financial templates and organizational tools. And then we have another, like, are you starting to see how we all, when we start making this about goals that everybody wants to hit and needs to meet and setting standards through that, rather than, well, I need 12 eggs and that person needs 3 apples and this person and this person and this person, and we're just creating laundry lists that'll never get fulfilled. Then we start incorporating each other into helping each other meet goals, and we start knocking a million birds with one stone. But what I believe fundamentally with all that is cancel culture is a tool of, I made this claim before, I don't know where I put it at, but I believe that cancel culture is a tool of cultural fascism or ideological fascism, in the means of, we can't control how you express yourself or how you move in society because you're too rich, because you're too powerful, you're too influential. So we're going to have to get people to hate you just because, get people to shame themselves for liking you, and then feel like you are obligated to the expectation of holding your freedom of speech or expression within our control. This is why I call it ideological fascism. It controls what you can think and what you can express yourself as, or how you express yourself, inevitably leading the other side of people who feels constricted by that to think that, hey, this seems like fascism to us, so why don't we actively, when we get power, why don't we impose fascism in real time to those people who imposed fascism to us? See, fascism doesn't just come out of nowhere. But again, this is how you don't have these conversations when you spend the whole 9 months or 18 months prior to a political election saying, Trump is the devil, Trump is the devil, Trump is the devil. And then Trump gets elected, and then you kumbaya the day afterwards and act like nothing happened. I'm sorry that I wait all like this time to get to the real like juice of what I'm trying to say in this video, but maybe I'm like a backwards thinker. The reason why I'm saying all the things that I'm saying here are not to like get us to cancel any more people. Because there's some people who don't deserve the authority and the influence they have. That's rightful. But we have to focus on what are we as individuals and as communities, hopefully beyond that, allowing ourselves to receive and be influenced by, and what are we hanging on to? And the best way to gauge that or understanding of that is how are our beliefs and held beliefs influencing our activity and actual progress in the real world beyond those beliefs? Or are those beliefs being used as a sedative to get us to distract us from taking responsibility, or to get us to hold other people back from taking responsibility that would expose the limiting beliefs that we carry to maintain our own ignorance and insecurity? I made this video like weeks ago, months ago probably, but especially as we move into like these times where we're removing educational pillars and institutions and incorporating more like religious integration into federal government and federal institutions, the world is going to be about what you believe and how you act on that belief. Nobody gives a fuck about what you know, because these people literally have the power to rewrite history, and they will. Do you think that these people who are in authority right now are not going to say the Palestine protesters on college campuses were like rowdy and start implementing things like they were rioting and destroying things and doing all this nasty stuff that was never happening? Do you think they're going to include that there was counter protesters, which is really just outside agitators that didn't even attend a lot of these schools and on campuses and were actually inciting violence and actively destroying campus property and environment? You think they're going to include that part? Or are they going to attribute all of that to the protesters who were fighting against the government? So, and how many years do you think are going to pass before they start telling, like, a lot of these children of America are told that MLK was actually a white dude who just cared about black people enough to, like, want to give black people human rights, and he wasn't, like, an actual black. It's only a matter of time before that shit starts happening. So I'm just the one warning you before they whisk me off into some federal, like, solitary confinement, and they force me to just drown under the sentencing of being faced with my own thoughts by myself. Conclude this video, because I know I may have concluded this like 4 times already, but this is why I say the people that you subscribe to on YouTube, the people that you follow on these social media platforms, the places that you subscribe your energy and your attention to in the real world, the relationships you cultivate, all of this shit is so important. And it's so important because you're either crutching on it for your survival and just like maintaining this I'm trying to get from Sunday to Saturday every week type mindset, or you know how important those aspects are and the reciprocation of energy they can provide are to your life. So you realize how important it is to have healthy relationships, how to be intentional in them, to be committed to your goals and your passions. And you become a product of all that you invest yourself into. No matter how much you think you're getting over or on anybody, or you're taking from more people than you're giving them. This is I know I'm having these conversations and I probably sound like a crazy person, but you guys don't understand, bro. Like the world we're walking into, like we're not just going into a depression or a recession. We also have the digital psychosis that we've never healed from. And we're still so deep in. You either go full in on AI as society, just like putting AI on society like a face sucker, or you stop from this shit, bro. And I don't think there's any way in hell we're going to stop from making Zuckerberg, Elon, and Bezos trillionaires. Because that's more of an American dream story than it is to see that Americans actually being able to take care of themselves and be this perceived greatest country on planet Earth that I know we have the potential to be, but we're definitely not.